What's up, dreamers, and welcome to another episode of Helpful Dreams. Today we're diving into a speech from Jim Rohn about failure and success.
Here's the definition of success and failure. Just make this note. Here's failure. A few errors in judgment, repeated every day. Now, you can automatically assume, Mr. Rohn, I say, I can understand that. A few errors in judgment repeated every day. For 6 years? I'm with my father. I think I told this story the last time I was here. My father, 88 years old, he's never been ill, still hasn't retired. Not long ago, midnight, we're getting ready to go to bed. We've drilled a new well, got some extra water, got some more acres going. He's all excited. At midnight, we're getting ready to go to bed. My father's eating what he calls his midnight snack. A little bite to eat before you go to bed. Don't have to go to bed hungry. And I'm watching him eat this midnight snack. Guess what he had? An apple, a few graham crackers, and a glass of grapefruit juice. I said, no wonder my father's so healthy. My mom taught us all those good health practices. Taught me when I'm growing up, right? I'm an only child. I've never been ill. Passed the big 5-0 some time ago. My two daughters, 32, 33, never been ill. My grandkids, never been ill. I'm telling you, the legacy lingers on. As I watched my father have this midnight snack, suddenly occurred to me. I know that's part of it. An apple, what? A day. That's gotten to Dallas-Fort Worth, right? An apple. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Good question for this intelligent audience. What if that's true? You say, well, Mr. Rohn, if that's true, that would be easy to do. Then what's the problem? It's easy not to do. It's easy not to adopt it as your own personal philosophy. Or the guy messed up the saying. Guy says a Hershey bar a day. Say, no. No. You've been watching too much television. It is not Hershey bar. You got to be smarter in philosophy than to fall for the Hershey bar a day when it's an apple a day. You've got to be smarter than that. And if you make that kind of an error in judgment every day for 6 years, I'm telling you, it'll accumulate into disaster. Sometimes the first year you say, well, you know, I'm so healthy now, what difference is it going to make? You've got to be smarter than that. Just because disaster doesn't fall on us at the end of the first day doesn't mean disaster isn't coming. You've got to be so smart that you look down the road and say, will the errors in my present judgment of philosophy, what's that going to cost me in 1 year, 6 years, 1 month, 6 months? I'm telling you, the money cost and the health cost and the success cost is too gigantic if you'll look down the road a little ways and say, are there errors in my current judgment like an apple versus a Hershey bar? Is that just a good illustration of some of the rest of my errors in judgment? If it is, that's where I found myself at age 25. I started working when I was 19. I met my teacher who helped turn my life around when I was 25. That's 6 years. At the end of the first 6 years of my economic life, I've got pennies in my pocket. I've got nothing in the bank. The creditors are calling saying, hey, you told us the check was in the mail. I'm embarrassed. I'm behind on my promises. I live in America. I'm 25-year-old American male. I got a nice family, every reason to do well. And I'm messed up. Now, what's messed up? I used to think it was the community that was messed up, and the country was messed up, and the government was messed up. If those Democrats ever get in the White House, that'll really mess things up. If the Republicans stay in power, that'll really mess things up. The economy was messed up. Interest rates are messed up. I thought all this stuff was messed up. Then I found out that's not what was messed up. I was criticizing the only thing I had to work with. What was really messed up was my own personal philosophy. My own errors in judgment in my own personal philosophy brought me in 6 years to pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, and trying to explain why I wasn't doing well, living in America, 25-year-old American male, got a family, every reason to do well. Now, once I understood this, here's the formula for failure: errors in judgment, being lax about developing your own personal philosophy. I'm telling you, it's called accumulated disaster. It doesn't matter whether it's your health or your bank account. Guy's got an empty bank account, probably has high cholesterol. Why? Over the last 6 years, he never paid attention to either one. And it doesn't matter whether it's a dollar, or whether it's your money, or whether it's your cholesterol count. All you got to do is commit the errors, and just because disaster doesn't fall on you at the end of the first day that you don't eat an apple. You say, well, I didn't eat an apple today, and tonight I'm not ill. Well, you got to be brighter than that. Someday you got to leave first grade. The reason we make those first grade desks so small so they won't fit at age 25. I mean, right? You don't belong here anymore. Come on. Now let me give you the secret to success. The formula for failure: a few errors in judgment repeated every day for 1 month starts the weakness, starts the disaster process. You can imagine what happens in 6 years.
I love how Jim Rohn explains that the largest failures in life do not come from a single event that happens to us, but rather an accumulation of small events that add up to the bigger. Picture. I feel like so many people fall short of their goals because they don't recognize that our major failures are an accumulation of wrong actions, and our biggest successes are an accumulation of our disciplines. We must be conscious of the fact that our actions on a daily basis are what determine our long-term results. We can gain so much from simply auditing our daily activities and identifying if they're truly serving us or not. The first step to implementing positive disciplines in your life that will make the difference is to identify where you struggle on a daily basis. We can start this process by writing down what we do day to day and figuring out what is working against us and working for us. The next step is looking at what the positive actions are and what past successes we've accomplished from those actions. Doing this will help us realize our strengths as well as certain times and situations that were more productive than usual. We can then use that information to properly plot out our actions during the times that were most productive. Committing to new disciplines and properly executing this process is easier said than done. There's going to be days where we don't feel motivated and we'll fall short of our commitments. During this time of difficulty, it's important that we rely on our visualization process and we focus on our desired outcomes rather than dwelling on our shortcomings. The human brain doesn't differentiate between what's going on internally and externally within our minds. So exercising positive visualizations will help you get through the tough times and continue the momentum into the next day. There's nothing wrong with taking time to reflect and recharge, but we must not stay stagnant for too long. A lot of people fall short of their commitments because they're waiting for the right time to do something. We must realize that the time to start pursuing our goals is never going to be completely right. We're never going to feel 100% comfortable going into a new disciplined process. So many people fall short of their potential because they're perfectionists about how they feel, and they believe that there's going to be this magical right time to get things done. Remember that it's also important to start small. Most people think that procrastination comes from a lack of motivation or a lack of inspiration, when it really comes from a lack of a plan. If you're currently in a state of procrastination, I challenge you to take your larger goal and break it down into smaller actionable steps to see what'll happen. Oftentimes when I get smaller steps broken down on paper, it makes it easier to begin the process. We must take action, fail fast, and continue to move forward at all times. Once you begin to fulfill these small disciplines that you implement into your daily life that are serving you, you're going to want to take time to measure if it's actually having a positive effect on you or a negative effect. What we initially believe will be good for us and what is actually good for us are two different things, and that takes testing out through trial and error and reflecting on if it actually is aiding you in fulfilling your major purpose. Realize that there's going to be some times where you fall short of your commitments, and don't neglect the importance of cultivating the proper self-love and forgiveness for yourself. We must consciously be aware of the fact that building up these small positive disciplines each day is a process, and it's not going to be perfect each day. What's important is that we show up every day ready to do the best that we can and move further towards our ultimate goals. This concludes our time for today. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to help spread the message, and I'll see you guys in the next one.